Good Wednesday morning. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. It was really cold this morning. Did not really want to get out of the blankets. So lucky you. You guys don't have to come into school today, but here I am. Also, test Thursday and Friday. I was just working on that, but it's just our division skills that we've been practicing. So I think you guys will be fine on that. You will be doing it in person with me in class Thursday and Friday. I'm not here, but you'll be doing it in person Thursday and Friday. um, Distance learners, I'll also have it posted for you to do. It's probably going to be easier for you to do on pencil paper if you don't have a printer. So just do your best with trying to show me those problems written out on your piece of paper. Just label them with the numbers of what problem you're working on. I'll also give those directions on Thursday and Friday. Um, Also, tonight is supposed to be a pretty big snowstorm. So if it is, and there's a snow day, I just want to say snow days are snow days. So if we get a snow day, there's no school on Thursday. Now, if you choose to personally do school, go ahead. I'm personally not going to choose to do work because it's a snow day and I love snow days. I love sleeping in. I love going outside with my dog and playing in it. So I don't expect to do work. So I don't expect you to do work that day. So please, if it snows, stay warm, have fun, get outside and enjoy it. Come back in and have some hot cocoa. That's my plan. So tonight, wear your pajamas inside out and let's hope for a snow day because it would be nice to have some first snow of the season. But without further ado, let's get into the division. It's our last division unit. Thursday and Friday, like I just said, is our unit test. So that means after this, we're done multiplying and dividing decimals, and we're going to shift into fractions in our next unit. So we're just going to keep rolling in fifth grade math. So great job, guys. I'm really proud of you. Report cards are just coming out, and you guys are really busting your butts, and I really appreciate the work that you're putting in, and it shows. If you're working consistently, it shows. If you're a little inconsistent, I think you feel it. But there's another chance to get back on track and be a little bit more consistent. Because when you're consistent, you guys are capable of anything. And I really appreciate the work you put in. So let's get dividing. Um, so lesson 26, we're going to be dividing, or sorry, 27. We're going to be dividing. But this time, just like at the beginning of the lesson yesterday, we decomposed into smaller units so that we weren't working with a remainder. But I mean, there's a remainder, but we represent it as a decimal. So let's go ahead and just get rolling in one of these math problems. So the first problem that I want to work on with you is 77 divided by 2. So, or 22, I'm sorry. Man, I can't talk this morning. 77 divided by 22. Okay, well, let me put my screen down so I can actually write a little bit more accurate. So 77 divided by 22. So how many 20s can we, or 22s can we take evenly out of 77? Well, if we think about rounding our divisor to estimate 20, 40, 60, 80, 80 would be too much. So I'm going to try three groups of 22, three groups of 22. Yeah, 66. So let's try three groups. So how many remaining would that give me? Yeah, 11. Now, don't write this, but I just want you to think about something that we used to do. Remember when I was asking you to write the answer as a fraction? One of those reasons that I was asking you to think about it that way is because our remainders are a part of a whole number. Now, when we're dividing as in decimal form, well, we can show that remainder as part of the whole number as a decimal. And we do that by extending this math problem into the tenths place. And we'll keep adding, I shouldn't say adding, we'll keep extending the number and decomposing it into smaller units until we have no remainder left to work with. So how many 20, and remember we just put the decimal straight up so we don't have to worry about it. How many 22s can we now take out of 110? Well, I know that if I doubled the three groups, six groups, that would be 66 plus 66. So this would be six groups. Well, that would be too many. But I can see that that's really close. So I'm going to try 22 times 5 instead of 22 times 6, because this was 6 groups. This is 3 groups, and that was 3 groups. 3 and 3 is 6, right? So 10 plus 1, 11. Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what we needed. So let's go ahead and place our quotient up top. 5 groups of 22 gave us 110, and that gave us 0 remainder. So our quotient is 3.5. Now, when we go to do our checks with this, we have no remainder to add back because it's part of our quotient now. We're just showing it as part of a whole number. So we can just set it up and do the multiplication, quotient times divisor, and we get 60 there. Remember, we'll have to deal with the decimal later. Place our 0 to go into the tens place. Oh, that should have been a 7, I think, right? Yeah, absolutely. I almost messed that up. I hope you were yelling at me. 770, but I know that we were working with tenths, 3.5, so I make sure there's a digit behind it, 77.0. That's exactly what we had up here, and we are done. Awesome. So that's all we're doing today. We're doing everything that we were doing, but we're not stopping until we have 0 left. So if you can't get a 0 left, that means something clunked up, and we need to go back and look at it. I promise you none of our quotients will extend past the hundredths place today. So you're only going to have to extend it at least or at most to the hundredths place. All right, let's clear our boards. Let's do another problem. Let's see. Let's do 14.7 or 14 and 7/10 divided by 21. I just want to remind you that when I say that number 14.7, that's just how to write it, but we also want to say it, how to say it, and that's why I also said 14 and 7/10. We got to get in the habit of going back and forth. Well, let's go ahead and just set this up, standard algorithm, 14.7 divided by 21. Well, if I start going just like we know, 1 does not divide into 21. 14 also doesn't divide into 21. So I am looking at all 147. Okay, so if I'm thinking 21 is rounds to 20, I think I can take 7 groups out of it because 7 times 20 is 140. So let's go ahead and try that. That's why we love doing that rounding and estimating to help us get a starting point. So we're just not doing 21 times 1, 21 times 2, and just keep working through trial and error until we get it. So we have a method to our madness, and I really appreciate you guys working on that. 7 times 2 is 14. Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. But actually, I didn't really like this example because we didn't have to extend our number. So 147, we subtract it, we got 0. Do you notice what I did wrong so far? Well, where'd my decimal? I forgot to bring my decimal up. So really, now let me just go back because I think what I should have done to start is I should have placed my decimal right here to start. And then when I look at 14 and I know that I can't do the whole numbers divide, I should put a 0 in front of that decimal. It's just a little bit more proper. And then I can go ahead and say there was 7 groups that gave me 147, and that's 0. So now that we've hit the 0 down here in a remainder, we know that we're done. We don't have to place any extra digits inside of our dividend. So our quotient is just 0.7, and now, or 7/10, and now we can try to do the multiplication check. So we know that, let me see, place the 0 in the 10 for the tens. And if I added that up, it would be 147, but I know that I was working with tenths, so I need to make sure that I have tenths in my answer. So that is exactly what we started with, and that's perfect. Let's see if we can do a problem that's gonna make us extend into our smaller units. Wow, I can't speak. So let me see if I can think of a math problem that'll do that real quick. Let's go ahead and do 2.8 divided by 16, or 2 and 8/10 divided by 16. This one will be one that we need to extend into. So let's go ahead and set it up. 2.8 is our dividend that goes in our den, and 16 is our divisor, so it goes on the outside. Well, first, let's learn from my mistake on the last one. Let's just look at the whole number. What's in the one? What's to the left of the decimal? Can we divide that evenly into 16, whether it's hundreds, tens, ones? Well, the answer is no. So let's go ahead and place a 0 up there, and then place our decimal. Now we're into our tenths. We can think about this. 16 plus 16 is 32. So we know that we can only take one group out of 28, and that gives us a remainder of 12. So we know that we took the right amount of equal groups out because our remainder is smaller than our divisor. But here is where we have to extend into a smaller unit because we still have a remainder, and we want to make sure that remainder shows as a part of the number or part into the decimal, right? So 120. Well, 10 times 16 is 160, so it's got to be less than that. Let's see, I'm trying to think what would be a good one. Let's just try to start at 5, because I know when you multiply things by 5, it ends in a 0 or a 5. So I'm just going to start there because it ends in a 0. 5 times 1 is 5. Not even close enough, right? All right. So I'm 40 away. I'm going to try 2 more on top of that. This is why estimating is a nicer strategy, right? 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4 is, wow, I can't, 112. All right, so 112. And of course, the example I created has a remainder. Again, so what do we need to do? Well, exactly. This is where we not take it another place. But before I do that, I almost forgot the step, and Miss Ryan yelled at me, not yelled at me, but she reminded me that I need to make sure that I place my quotient up top. So put my quotient. That was 7 groups to give me that 112. Now I can extend my number down. Now this example goes into the thousands, and I said that the math only goes into the hundreds. So I apologize for using an example that does not match up with what I said. But the rules still apply. We just keep working all the way through until we get a 0 in the remainder. Well, the cool thing is we're working with 80. I already did the math to show how many groups of 16 gives me 80. So I know it's 5. This time I'm going to put my quotient up. I'm going to subtract 80, and I am left with 0. So our answer is 175 thousandths, or how I would write it is 0.175. And I'm going to multiply that by 16. Now, it's always easier, in my opinion, to put the number with the most amount of digits on the top when we multiply. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 3 is 45. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10. Cross those out. Now I'm in the tens place, so I put my 0 there. Now I'm multiplying by 1, so this is easy. I just have to add them up. 2800, but the thing is, why doesn't that match my dividend? Well, that's because I have to think about my decimal. 3 digits behind my decimal, make sure 3 digits behind my decimal, my quotient, 2.800. Well, that's exactly what my dividend became when I extended it into smaller units. All right, so that's the lesson today. That's what we're working on. You're going to just keep placing zeros in the smaller units and keep working until you get to that 0 in the remainder. Then do your multiplication check, and then you're done. All right, remember where those decimal goes. Also, remember from my mistake, make sure your quotient goes up before you start working through your division problem, because that will get you clunked up pretty quick if you forget a digit in your quotient. So without further ado, you are on to the problem set. Let me just take a quick look at the problem set. Yeah, we can do both pages. It's a division on the first page and 2 word problems on the second page. You could, oh, there's a third page. Sorry. Don't do the third page. Do the first 2 pages. I'll make sure I write that in the notes as well. All right. Good luck today. Let me know if you need me. There will be a Zoom at 1:20. I'm going to post that link when I post my update today. All right. Bye, guys.